Okay guys, today we're going to be having fried pork chops with baked apples and onions with sauteed spinach and a pan sauce. Okay guys, so let's get started on this recipe. And the first thing you need to do is heat your oven to 425. The second thing you're going to do is take a sheet pan, and I line mine in foil just for easier cleanup. You're going to need, first of all, your pork chops. These are bone-in. Sorry, I'm behind the camera. These are bone-in pork chops. They're pretty thin though, so they're not as thick as I would like them to be, so I gotta estimate for 4 people, as thin as these are, 2 each. So that's gonna be this whole package of pork. And if there's 1 or 2 or so left over, it'll be good tomorrow. You're gonna need some apples. I'm using both Granny Smith and Red Delicious apples, and I'm gonna core those and put them into wedges. I'm going to sprinkle them with some ground sage. If you have fresh sage, use that. I couldn't find any at the market today. I also, here in the back, I have some Chardonnay. I don't like white wine real dry, so I kind of don't believe in that. If you won't drink it, don't use it, because I would never drink it. So I have here about 1.5 cups of the wine, and what you're seeing there floating is ground ginger, and I freeze my ginger and then I just grate it on this side of the box. Okay, and then I'm going to use some roasted garlic grapeseed oil, and this will be to fry up my pork chops. We have some fresh spinach here. We have pink salt, black pepper. We have my favorite one of my favorite seasonings, Szechuan. Me and my son still argue about how that's pronounced, so if anyone knows for sure, let me know. And some regular olive oil here in the back that will go to the sheet pan. Because the first thing we'll do is we're going to put the apples into the oven for 10 minutes after we get them ready with the sage on them, with some olive oil tossed all together. You'll see it. And then we're going to fry up our pork chops in the pan to get them brown. Then we're going to put those with the apples into the oven, and then the rest of the recipe will continue. So I'll bring you back as soon as I have all of this prepped together. And I'm thinking I may add an onion, because it just dawned on me, why not? Onion and apple and pork goes very well together. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so here I have the apples. I started to put on the olive oil before it dawned on me I wasn't filming it. So we're just going to drizzle a little bit of extra virgin olive oil onto the sheet. I'm going to start heating up my pan with my other olive oil. I'll show that in a second. And then I'm just going to sprinkle this with sage. Use fresh if you have it. I did it now for the first time for 10 minutes as I start frying up the pork chops, and then we're going to put the pork chops on top of here, and then we are going to proceed on with our recipe. Alright guys, and so now I have my pan on the stove on medium-high heat. I had, again, getting ahead of myself here, I used the wrong olive oil first. I used the extra virgin. I wanted to use my Wild Tree, whoops, that's not good, the Wild Tree roasted garlic and grapeseed oil, but it's not going to hurt it that I also use the extra virgin. I did go ahead and add some butter to the skillet, and that's really for flavoring as well as for the smoke point. So I'm just going to let this heat up, and then, excuse me, I have here my pork chops, which are seasoned, so we'll be right back. Okay guys, almost forgot the onion I told you I was gonna add, so I just cut it in rings. Okay guys, so I went and got the meat in because the pan was getting too hot and the butter was browning, which is fine. So we're only gonna sear these about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, and then I'm gonna put them on top of the apples in the oven to finish cooking while I make the pan sauce. So I will bring you back to that in just a moment. Alright guys, so you can see my onions and apples are in the oven still. Now you're going to place this on top, the pork chops. You still want to see pink. You do not want to cook these well done in the frying pan. Because if you do that, your pork chops will be very dry by the time they're done. This is our ginger and wine mixture that I showed you earlier. And we're going to bring this up to a simmer, let it reduce slightly, and then we're going to add our spinach to it. Now I'm just bolting down the spinach in our wine mixture. And I'm going to use the whole bag of spinach that I have because it does reduce down to nothing. Okay guys, so it's done, this part of it. The pork chops are tender and still moist, and the apples are soft, and the onions are soft. So now we're just going to go ahead and go up here, and I have my spinach and the apples. Now I've got about half of the onions and apples in with the spinach. Now I'm just going to lay our pork chops down, some more apples and onions on top. Our pan sauce here reduction. And pour that over the top. Okay guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and leave a comment or question down below. And we will see you on the next recipe.